Great, well, we're so happy to have CJ Casciotta with us today. CJ is the author and identity seeker who's unafraid of being unique. His book, Get Weird, Discover the Surprising Secret to Making a Difference, is out this month. Please welcome with me CJ. Hi CJ, how are you? Great to see you. Man, it's so exciting to see this book. You know, we got to work together for a while. Actually, many of you may not know, CJ worked for the Hour of Power as our guest coordinator. So you were the guy that organized the guests, and now you're a guest.
I'm one of them. I organized myself, actually.
Circle. Yeah. Well, welcome. Well, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in Nashville and how you got to writing this book.
Yeah, you know, it kind of all started, I was in a bookstore with my 4-year-old daughter at the time, and we were in the kids section. Mm-hmm. And I was noticing there was like this girl, she couldn't have been more than like 2 or 3, and she was coloring inside this coloring book in this little sort of coloring station. And at first she was like coloring really well, like inside the lines. And then she got a little wild. Started scribbling outside the lines a bit, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But I noticed that her mom was kind of standing next to her over her shoulder, and she said this to her, I'll never forget it. She goes, "You've ruined it." Why did you ruin it? So I'm like, I'm standing, it's really, and it's true. And so like I took my little daughter and we kind of removed ourselves from the situation because I realized if I was gonna stay there, I was gonna do some co-parenting to this complete stranger. But you know, it reinforced in me the reality that so many of us grow up convinced that coloring outside the lines and doing something different is wrong. Mm-hmm. But when I hang out with this person, Jesus, and I research the person of the Christ, I mean, you kind of can't get around the idea that he's a misfit. Yeah. And not only is he a misfit, he's a champion of other misfits. And he's talking about this kingdom, right, all the time in the Gospels, this magic kingdom where up is down and down is up, and the poor are actually rich. And it's kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? He's saying you can come 100%. In. It is. You gotta adopt the mindset of a child if you want to access this kingdom.
How is it like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
The snozberries taste like snozberries. You know, he's going around. It's true. He's saying, guys, don't you understand? It's not about religion. It's about this place where you belong. And childlike innocence is, he's saying, if you want to access the kingdom, you have to look like, he puts a kid on his knee and goes, you have to adopt the mindset of this child.
What do you say to the person that's like, but CJ, rules are rules, man. You got to follow the rules.
Get a haircut and a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've heard it before. I would say that, yes, craft and rules and talent, those are things to be cultivated. And really, if you look at what all these amazing musicians do, is they play rules. Yeah. They play numbers on paper, but what only a human being can do is take a look at the rule and go, you know what, I'm gonna play that note a little bit louder. Yeah. I'm gonna hold it a little bit longer, and that creates wonder, and we all stand in awe. And so, yes, there's rules, but there's also this imaginative, risk-taking thing within our soul that we have since we were kids. Yeah. And we have to remember.
Reminds me of jazz. If jazz came out of the freed slaves, if you follow it all the way back, you know, the origin of jazz was African slaves that were now Americanized, that were trying to apply that same freedom to music. But when you still play music, when you play jazz, there is a structure underneath. Yeah. There's a structure underneath, but then there's freedom to do whatever you want, you know, within the progression. So anyway, and the kingdom of God is like that. It's like Willy Wonka. It's like playing jazz. It's like there's rules, and you need those rules, but it's not about the rules, right? The rules, and maybe you could say the rules give us freedom, right? If without lines, how could you draw outside of them?
Exactly. Yep, it is a paradox, my friend.
That's good. Yeah. What do you want the main person to take away from reading this book?
You know, that whether you're 5 or 105, there's a place in your soul where you've never been wounded. And some people would call it your soul child. I call it the sacred weird. It's this place that God pre-installed in you. You know, when you're a kid, you just imagine by default. And what I want people to do is, A, not lose sight of that, and if they have, to reconnect with it and find it. Because I think the source of freedom that we're talking about, and I think eternity is trapped inside of that place. Yeah. And so I want people to find it.
Well, if you're interested in knowing more about that, get the book. It's called Get Weird. The author is CJ Casciotta. CJ, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks so much, Bobby.
Appreciate you.
Right.
Great.